what we're having, guys. I think that I think a lot of us needs to start reading the Bible and getting back to reading it. And I think it's really see the truth. There's truth. Then there's half truths and false truths. Now, when you look at the Bible and we look at God and Jesus the way we all want to find the way. You got people in different industries that are Jesuits, Luciferians, Draconians, Satanists, and all that other shit. Yeah. When you look at movies like RoboCop, Terminator, Matrix, 1984, 2001, The Space Odyssey, V for Vendetta, Transformers, these movies talk about how humanity can be so corrupted, can be so easily corrupted. Greed, sloth, vanity, pride, these movies talk about, especially when you look at the movies Gladiator, Passion of the Christ, right? Talks about how man can be tempted, give in to temptation. How man can be so easily corrupted with greed and power. They forget who they are. They forget who they are. They think that they could control another human being. You know, the way man is so easily corrupted, you know. So easily corrupted by greed. You know, that is what we're being told in the Bible. When you read the Bible, you learn that we all have flaws. We all have falters and flaws and stuff like that. You know, I mean, it's just that when you read the Bible, one of my favorite books in the Bible is Genesis. I've always loved the first book, Genesis, and one of my favorite verses is that God's teachings is the foundation of man, for man to understand that if you build from God's teachings, which is the foundation, you know, because God's teachings is the foundation. It is a foundation, you know. It is a foundation, and how man as in humanity, you know, we have to look in ourselves. See, I don't usually talk like this, or ever bring it up, because you know, it's very private to me, personal to me. But I'm willing to share words, you know, words of God, and the life that Jesus lived. You know, He is the truth, the way, and the light. You know, He is the way. He is the truth. You know. I don't go to church, but I do read the good book. You don't hear anything. You don't hear anything. You don't really hear anything in the Bible about you got to build a church. No, you don't. Jesus didn't have a church. The whole world was His church. The whole world was His congregation. He didn't need a building for people to, you know. When you look at televangelists, those are the ones that are the false prophets, man. Fake prophets, you know. You look at Joseph Smith and Brigham Young. These guys are false prophets of the Mormon religion. You know. You look at the guy that found and created the Jehovah's Witness, fake false prophet, fake, you know, all this shit, you know. You look at televangelists like, say, Jim Baker, you know, Kenneth Copeland, Benny Hinn, Peter Popovich. These guys are false prophets. These are like, you know, false healers, man. Just snake oil salesmen, you know. When you look at Robert Tilton, you know, same thing. A snake oil salesman and shit, you know. And when you look at who else? These guys, most of these televangelists, they don't care about you. They only care about what they can get from you as they're teaching the word of the gospel, which, you know damn well, it's all about greed. You know, it's all about greed, you know. Jimmy Swaggart, You know, he was fired from his own congregation, his own ministry, committing adultery way too much. Because most of these, we are the hit. We are God's speakers. We speak through Him. He speaks through us. No, you don't. No, you don't. No, you don't. You lie. You waste money. You live a lavish lifestyle. You know, I mean, you think because you're speaking the gospel of God in Jesus, you're leading your flock to stray. You're leading your flock to stray. There's been cases where these liars had issues with keeping it in their pants, hitting on young members of the congregation. You know, for example, Jim Bakker and Jessica Hahn in the mid-'80s. Son of a bitch. You know, he had an addiction. Every televangelist has an addiction. And we all know what that is. Sin. Addicted to a sin. Sin addiction. Yeah. See, we'll have, I mean, we're all sinners. God's Son died for our sins. To wipe it a clean slate. You know, He gave His only forgotten Son. You know, I mean, it's just that I learned a word. I learned something about empathy. Empathy. So it's a word meaning feeling someone's pain. Feeling someone's pain. You feel someone's pain. Who's hurting. Who's suffering. We all feel pain. We all feel suffering. One time or another. I have a friend that I've known for a few years. Very compassionate. Compassion. A lot of heart. You know. Has empathy. For people's pain. No. So I mentioned in a video that I did earlier today about you have these corporations and government entities that do not give a rat's ass about you. And if you're someone who has empathy, and you feel the pain of someone who's hurting, who's suffering, and you have compassion, understanding, respect, they would find you as a threat because you have compassion, common sense, man, And that is from because Jesus had compassion. He had empathy. He cared about his apostles. He cared about people. He cared about people. The ones that had Jesus crucified are the same kind of people that are in these institutions. Corporate and government institutions. They don't care about you. Raining. Yeah, hear that? That's Mother Nature. That's nature. See, that's nature. That's nature, not climate change. That's nature. That's real nature right there. That's a weather change. Not climate change, weather. Weather. That's real, folks. That's, yeah. That's weather, folks. That's weather. That's rain. It's rain. That's real, folks. I'm real. My friend's real. And Lizzie's real. Oh, are you real? Are you real? Look at you. Are you real, Lizzie girl? Oh, are you real? I love you. You good girl? Huh? You good girl? Huh? I love you. She's a good girl. She's a good girl. Oh, you pretty girl, huh? I've always liked the book Genesis. I've always thought it was a really. I've always thought it was a good book, good beginning. When God said, "Let there be light," whew, there's a sun. There's a sun. I've always liked this one scripture that God's teaching is the foundation. Is the foundation. is the true foundation. It is. It's the true foundation. It's always been that in my head. The true foundation is God's teaching, God's understanding. We're in a not just a spiritual battle for the mind and soul and spirit. Mind, body, and soul. We're in a huge spiritual war. I mean, we're in a huge spiritual war, and there's a lot of numbers, symbolisms. Now, there's always been, in history, good people. That follow the truth, that follow the gospel. And some of those people have had their lives taken mysteriously. You know, now, when you look at the Vatican, one of the most corrupted places ever. Throughout its history, it had good popes that had compassion. One of them was Pope John Paul I, who only lasted 33 days. And we all know what 33 means. Freemason. Yeah. All right. And the ones behind his death is the Freemasons, as well as the true leader of the Vatican, the Black Pope. See, the Pope is just Pope Francis, and ones before him were just mouthpieces. Representation of the Vatican, but also a secret representation of the Black Pope. For thousands of years. Yeah. The one that there was about a couple that really were controversial in my knowledge. Pope Benedict XVII, who was a Nazi youth. Rodrigo Borgia, he was a pope. And he was one of the most evil popes. One of the most vile popes. During the Renaissance. His 2 children. This family was a bunch of sick motherfuckers, man. His kids committed incest. That family was a bunch of sick fuckers, man. See, we all have flaws. We all have given to temptation one time or another. Some resisted, some didn't. The ones that resisted, they followed God's teachings and resisted temptation. Not perfect, but we are human. We are human. I would come out here and just sit out here and I like to sit out here and hear what's going on outside. I think that's real. It's like here, all over, it's real. And it gives you time to think how far that you as an individual have come so far. If you just sit outside for a moment and just really listen, not hear, listen. There's a difference. If you listen, close your eyes and listen. Don't just hear, listen. There's nothing wrong to listen. See, nature can speak to us in a very different, in a very way. In a different way we hear ourselves or hear people speak. It's just a nature can listen, can get you to listen, understand that all this gone at any time. Some do take life for granted. I'm not here tonight to talk about politics. I'm here to speak about reality, man. What's important. You know. If we just take the time to just listen. Just listen. Understand. Really. Understand. Because if you listen, like really, really listen, you know, there's a lot. There's a lot we can learn if we just listen to nature for the moment. I remember living on my own for the first time in my life, living on my own. It was something. It was something. It was freedom. It was freedom. It may have been brief and temporary, but it was freedom. It was something. You know, I've had my own place. I knew what it was like to have my own place. You know, just really knew how to. Got to learn about myself, who I am as a human being. The one thing that I have no patience for, human hypocrisy. Human hypocrisy. There's a lot of hypocrites. There's a lot of hypocrites. There's some hypocrites in all walks of life. And their hypocrisy has no bounds. No end. No fucking end. This is Mandarin Orange. No sugar, no calories, no caffeine, sodium, zero sodium per serving. Pretty good. We're good. Just in case some of you are thinking, this guy must be hammered or something. Nah. It's sparkling water beverage. Mandarin Orange. Fiji apple. Fiji apple. Fiji apple. Fiji apple. I love apples. I love apples. I love applesauce. I love oranges. I love orange juice. I think we all have a lot through our minds on what do we see next in our lives. We often ask our other, like, people to ask each other, what do you see? Like, what do you think? What's your 411, your FYI kind of thing, you know. None of us have all. I mean, we could come up. We could come up with something. Say, well, anything could happen. Can't say what it is because, you know, anything can take its course. No, we don't have all the answers to all the questions, but we do our best in let people know what we're thinking. You know, in a very respectful, compassionate, empathetic way. You know, logical way too. See, we don't want to. We don't want to say things where it would hurt someone's heart, you know, because there's but we all need to have some compassion and empathy and logic and understanding for one another. The way my life is, I may not show I'm a very rare guy. Very rare guy. I'm like a human equivalent to a Honus Wagner baseball card. Very ultra rare guy. Yeah. Some may assume a few things about me. Assume I'm a very private and a quiet guy. It's not a guy thing. It's not a woman thing. It's a human thing. It's a human thing. It's not a man thing. It's not a woman. It's a human thing. It's just that I know the world we're in is not good, and I know that. And I have had people assume different otherwise. I keep my emotions in check. I know to some that's hard, I get that. I get that. I understand that. Um, I've always been not very talkative, but somewhat talkative. If I see something that really rubs me the wrong way, I will let that person know. I mean, or if I see someone, the way they act, because it's the face features, body language, the way the eyes are, the way the eyes, the whole body language. You don't need to go to college to get a degree in common fucking sense. You don't need a college degree to understand a body language. No. The kind of person that you do not ever want to fucking cross is somebody that is very quiet. Very, very quiet person. And I am that quiet person. I have friends that I protect. I have friends that are dear to my heart. Friends. You do not need to be blood to be family. They're my family. And if you fuck with them, wait until you get a load of me. You fuck with my family, you deal with me. I have a dear friend that's dear to my heart. She's my family. You fuck with her, you deal with me. I'm like the quiet storm. Until when you turn the volume up past 11, that's when all hell breaks loose. When it comes to my friends and family, I am a loyal soldier. You learn about loyalty is important to have, because when you have this spiritual war between good and evil, it's been going on for eons. For as long as we've all been alive. For as long as we all been alive. I have worries. I have my worries. My concerns. I may not show, but I can feel. I understand. It's just that we all need to understand that we have to really have some compassion, logic, empathy, for other people and their pain. People feel pain too. People suffer too. I do know what suffering is. I may not show it in my face, but I do know what suffering is. I do know what pain is. I may not show it in my face. I guess it's I don't know. I don't know if it's but we all have to open our eyes wider. Listen clear. See, when I hear the rain, when I hear the world out there, I don't just hear, I listen. And when you read the Bible, you're hearing the entity tell you a story, telling you in their words as you read. Every word you read is them telling you. It's them telling you. Yeah. It's them telling you. Yeah. I can listen to the rain. It's really interesting. Really, really interesting. Before I go, I just want to say we all need to show some compassion to people who have suffered, who is feeling pain. Compassion, empathy, logic, understanding, respect. Because we can feel pain too. But our pain is not like their pain. Our suffering ain't like their suffering. It can be a lot worse than yours. Or mine. It can be a lot worse suffering than what you're going through. Because maybe we don't understand why or how they're suffering, because maybe it's that things that we don't understand. So we gotta look into ourselves. And put ourselves in their shoe, in their position. And it's pretty damn sure that it's probably what you don't want to do, because you don't want to have that kind of suffering. But at least have some compassion and empathy for that person who's feeling, who has pain and suffering. Feel what they feel. Maybe you'll understand logically, and with some common sense. My name is Reverend Ordo, and this has been the Anonymous Manawati Sect. Always live healthy and happy and wise. I love you guys. Godspeed. Buddha bless.